This is the week 6 press conference with defensive coordinator inside linebackers coach Peter Sirmon prior to facing Oregon State. We'll go ahead and get questions started with Emmanuel from the Daily Cal. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Hey, good morning, Coach. I wanted to ask you about DJ Uiagalelei and how you're kind of game planning for what is a very electric quarterback in the Pac-12.
Well, I mean, game plan for him, but really the offense has continued to do a great job of using their personnel, really utilizing the quarterback position. I think they're running the quarterback a little bit more this year on some design runs, but he's a high quality, very talented player, can make all the throws. But I think when I look at Oregon State, yeah, he's a very talented player in the quarterback position. Is going to be the engine of all that, but they do a really nice job of spreading the ball around, running the ball effectively in different personnel groupings. So we have our hands full.
All right, next question will go to Jeff Verrado from Cal Sports Report.
Peter, we were talking earlier with Justin about Caleb Elarm's or can you just talk about his evolution and when you worked with him in the spring and in fall camp, what were the things he needed to improve on and what are you most pleased with? And he's become very productive, obviously.
He's made tremendous strides, Jeff. He's, when we first got here, I think we've kind of talked about his background playing on an edge in high school, the COVID year, him playing his senior year in high school and then his spring. He unfortunately injured his knee. So when he first got to us in the summer, his first year here, he was, still rehabbing. And then as he regained his health, he had opportunities to kind of get in the weight room and get in the meeting room. And when we first put him behind the ball, it looked like he was relatively new to that, but he's put a tremendous amount of work, focus, a lot of determination on getting more comfortable, understanding the playbook. And he's made great strides since, the conclusion of last fall for what he did in the winter. And the improvement that we saw in the spring, he really catapulted himself in a situation that I'm not actually that surprised with his production. He has very, very good tools. He runs well. As he develops, the thing that he can't rush is just getting more experience. And as he gets more experience, and we can refine some of the things that he can see and some of the decisions, I think he can make a little bit faster. I think he'll continue to get better.
Is he a somewhat different player than your son in terms of how he approaches the game?
I think experience would probably make him, I guess, if you want to say a different approach to it. KJ doesn't have the years of experience that Jack has. So he's probably views it from a little different perspective. And, as we instruct him and take him through the week, those guys on different experience spectrums, those guys are asked to take a little more or a little bit less based on what their capacity is. But KJ is a very, very talented player, and we're excited that he's having the production and he's making the improvement that he is.
Thank you.
We'll go to Steve Croner from the SF Chronicle.
Yeah, Peter, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. We've talked in the past about how, most of the Pac-12 offenses, they spread you out. They're throwing the ball down the field all the time. My first thought is Oregon State is something of a throwback. It isn't necessarily going to throw 45 times and spread you out, that it is kind of more like a traditional 70s, 80s, 90s offense. One, is that true? And if it is, how does that change your approach this week?
Well, I don't know if they're 70s, 80s, 90s quite that. They do a great job of implementing a lot of different personnel groupings. And sometimes when we think of big personnel groupings, we get nostalgic. We reflect on, having multiple tight ends or multiple fullbacks in the game as the way it used to be played. They can, in my mind, they can kind of live in both worlds. They can go big. They can put multiple tight ends on the field. If they want to build some 21 personnel, they have the capacity of doing that. But, a significant part of their game is going to be built out of 11 and traditional spread formations. But I would also say, what to your point is I think multiple personnel groupings and multiple formations always make it a challenge for a defensive coordinator on how you're going to package and how you're going to match. Because the more personnel grouping somebody presents, the more contingencies and the more formations you have to account for. And, you know, as we look at things, formations are as important as the play selection when we face an offense, just from alignment issues, from matchup issues. So the more people they put in different groupings, the more challenging it is for us to prepare.
Thank you.
Our next one will come from Matt Moreno from Rivals.
Big Miles Williams got his first start on Saturday. Played pretty well against Washington as well. What did he show you to earn that job on Saturday?
You know, BMW has always shown flashes, and you know sometimes it's been availability for him a little bit, but he has a lot of experience, on the practice field, and sometimes it's not as much as he'd like on the game field. But he's got he's got a component to his game that he can really help us. He can play some first, second down run. You can see him get on an edge and be an effective pass rusher. So it's been great to get more guys in the game, you know, with Xavier, Miles Jernigan, David Reese, Ryan McCulloch in some limited capacities. You know, having 5 guys to be able to play those edge positions has been huge for us.
All right, we'll swing back to Jeff Verado.
Peter, can you talk about Oregon State's offensive line? I think they've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 110 career starts from those 5 guys. 2 or 3 of them have more than 30 career starts. Just how big of an asset is that for them?
Yeah, I think it's tremendous. I think that's really the engine of the whole operation. They do a very good job of staying attached. You can tell they're extremely well coached, which I've probably said every time we face them, you know, since Jonathan's been there and Coach Mihalechek's been there and Brian has been coordinating. There's really no dents in the armor. I think they're very effective at what they do, and I think they play to exactly what their strengths are. They're tough. They do a great job of working together. You know, some of the combinations and some of the zone blocking schemes. It's really, you know, if you wanted to put together some teach tape and go to clinic, I think Coach Mihalechek must have plenty of teach tape, material for him to go on the road with.
Thank you.
Next question will come from Thomas Dunn from Hyper, California.
Good morning, Peter. With the way Oregon State runs their offense in terms of jet sweeps, play actions, you mentioned earlier, 11, 12 personnel, everything that they do just to get people moving in different directions, is it fair to say that basically what the defense sees throughout the course of a particular play is going to be the most crucial, as opposed to even before you even get to the things like execution, just in terms of what they see, where the play goes, and where they may even be confused at times?
Well, I think, you know, a lot of those offenses, is window dressing or, you know, different ways of presenting the same play throughout different formations and in FIBs or reduction of splits or motions. I think those things are all, a big part of what every offense is going to do. There is limited time in the day. There's limited opportunity at every program to have the capacity that sometimes that you see on tape. The good programs, they present a lot of different pictures, but when you peel it back a little bit, it's a lot of the same staples of run game, of throw concepts that, when you have a program that's been doing what they've been doing. This has been an investment for years and years and years. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of hours of banked reps of development in this style of play, which as the program continues to mature and those players continue to mature, they can present new formations, new alignments, even some new run concepts, throw concepts with relative ease because of the foundation that the program has.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Michael Jorgensen.
Hi, Coach. One more for you about Caleb Elarms-Orr. Coach Wilcox credits you with teaching him how to be a linebacker. Can you describe some of the specifics of what that teaching process looks like over time and how it helps build successful relationships with players?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. I take a lot of passion, a lot of pride on instructing inside linebackers. It's something that I feel I have a perspective that a lot of people help me in terms of the college experience, the NFL experience. And I've been around some great coaches and more importantly, some great players that have given me some feedback. What we do in my opinion, with young inside linebackers is we try to keep things extremely clean with our vocabulary. You know, if you were to come into a meeting room, from how we align to the techniques that we use in the run and the pass game, you would hear the same techniques, the same vocabulary hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And what we're trying to get accomplished there is a tremendous foundation of the fundamentals. And at inside linebacker, I think the most important thing you can do is instruct a young man where to stand and what to look at. You know, and that's more than half the battle. And the formations are so variety and there's so many variables in that. If we can get a guy to stand where I want him to stand and look at what I want him to look at, that's going to be a huge part of the battle. And what we've done is, I think we have continued to refine those instructions. And when you find a player that has a real desire and a real burning passion for learning it, I think we can instruct, and I think I can instruct anybody that has a great passion for football to be able to know what to do. Now, you have to have the skills to be able to do it. I'm not advocating that I can make somebody go make a bunch of tackles, but the instruction part, I think we've put together a really solid foundation of instructing linebackers, and we've been fortunate. You know, the Jordan Kanashiks of the world, Evan Weaver of the world. You know, Coin Dang was extremely productive here. Jack has been extremely productive here, and now KJ being extremely productive. I think we've done a good job of getting those guys prepared, and I think they've all done a nice job of reciprocating and being a willing participant in that journey.